It says it's the 11th. And so this marks the time that the successful counterattack on Flight 93 ended.
Personal objects in the 9/11 museum that help tell the story of that tragic day. Good afternoon. I'm Erin Calvi.
And I'm Chris Raggi. We begin this noon with a day of healing and hope as survivors, family members, and leaders join in the dedication ceremony of the National September 11th Memorial Museum.
Emotions overflowed at the first glimpse of the museum created to make sure the world never forgets that day. We have team coverage. We begin with CBS 2's Lou Young live in Lower Manhattan. Lou.
In one succinct, powerful hour, the organizers here dedicated the National 9/11 Memorial Museum and also underlined why it is so important, such a place that we all have to remember. It is hard to relive, but essential to remember. In a room evocative of an underground cathedral, a choir sang a New York song, "There's a Place for Us" from West Side Story. This is now the place to see artifacts of our shared tragedy. The National 9/11 Museum, dedicated, soon to be open to the public, described this morning by current and former mayors, governors, and the President of the United States.
Here at this memorial, this museum, we come together. We look into the faces of nearly 3,000 innocent souls. We can touch their names and hear their voices.
September 11 brought out the largest emergency response in New York City history. 1,000 firefighters, 2,000 police officers, and 100 city and volunteer ambulances rushed into action.
The museum is a series of cavernous rooms and ramps inside the footprint of the fallen towers, beneath the final beam removed from what was Ground Zero.
After losing my brother Tommy, a firefighter with Squad Company Number 1, I was the first person to put his picture on this piece of steel, which we call the last column. After that, many others followed with pictures and in signatures.
It's a difficult place to visit, but the stories are important to remember. A wristwatch, for instance, worn by one of the passengers who overpowered the hijackers on Flight 93 headed for Washington.
It says it's the 11th. And so this marks the time.
In giving their lives, how many lives had they saved?
Tales of heroism and of simple survival. A pair of shoes will help tell the story of people who simply came to work that day and were forced to flee for their lives.
I wanted my nieces and my nephew and every person that asked what happened to see them and maybe understand a little bit better what it felt like to be us on that day.
The museum is organized in such a way as to allow a visitor to go as deep into the story as they feel that they can handle. Some exhibits have advisories on them that warn that they could be disturbing to some people. A little has been left out of the museum. Around-the-clock previews for family members and for first responders are already underway. We're live at the World Trade Center. Lou Young, CBS 2 News.